Welcome, everyone, to the next session of In a Land Not Their Own. We begin the water's edge as the last dying purple and lavender light of Laku caresses the shining surface of Leviathan and the pebbly stone beach upon which are perched, docked, individual rowboats, small canoes, fishing vessels. We see the expanse of small lights, individual fishing huts and small abodes of those who make their trade upon the water's edge. We move our camera down beyond and into the face of Leviathan to that bluish purple light beneath the waves. We see Nazvog, many dozens of feet beneath the water, having taken your refuge some distance from the beach, far from, you hope, any two-legged predators. That small, almost forest of seaweed which sways gently in the underwater currents, taking your rest at long last, not having found a grotto of or anywhere perhaps as safe as you might like or be more comfortable with, but I believe you had set yourself to sleep. Were there final preparations you were making as you find yourself in this location? You having just eaten for the first time in feels like forever the sweet flesh of fish, seafood.
Well, I mean, we were nestled within the forest of the kelp, so it wouldn't be obvious in any way like where we are, just because like there's so much kelp there, we can easily get through it, and like it's still going up. Like it's not like you can like anybody like certainly nobody from land would be able to like navigate inside the kelp or notice that the kelp was disturbed in any way. She's not particularly worried about sharks for obvious reasons. So, and like she doesn't know if there are any other sorts of predators around here like that would worry about sirens. So I mean that seems good to her. I mean she's obviously holding Senem tightly to her as they go to sleep, but that's the usual.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean nothing too particular. I mean she's just really happy that she is finally able to sleep underwater, and she's finally able to relax at least a little bit, because she's in her own element. If something starts coming through the kelp or something like that, she'll probably notice it, or at least that's what she thinks.
Mm-hmm. And those are your thoughts as the both of you drift off to slumber, safe you hope from that massive red mountain as you left lumbering upon the dirt and soil. As you drift off, comforted by that gentle swaying, your own body, mimicking the undulations of the great stalks of kelp, is surrounded by it. It's a comforting feeling, as you've said, finally back in your element. Now, some of that sting on your still taxed skin is starting to ebb, taking in that moisture which it so desperately needs. But even still, you still don't know how far you are from your destination, or if you've reached it. For that great stony guide, that companion, who knows where he is now, has still not told you where you must go. Perhaps there will be some greater distance to travel on land. No doubt that thought instills in you some measure of not fear, but definitely extreme discomfort. Having just gotten back to the sweet embrace of water. But you drift off, and if you dream, you don't remember it upon waking. But wake you do. It feels like you're not sure what, but you awaken to the pitch inky black darkness of nighttime waters, which your eyes can pierce more effectively than many other species, certainly many species of the land. It takes you sort of a minute to come to, as if something you've suddenly been woken up from a deep sleep. And you feel that same feeling itching at the back of your head, the back of your mind, an apprehension, then an anxiety. And then, in an instant, fear and panic as you realize your child, which you held so close to you, is not anywhere to be found.
Okay, well then, so she's gonna immediately go into panic mode. She realizes that she's not there, so immediately she's up and swimming, shouting out for her as loud as she can. I mean, she's reasonably familiar, or she's gonna assume that Sanam knows her name. So, and she can swim, she's a siren, so she's figuring maybe she swam off, maybe she's exploring or something like that. So she's going to immediately start calling her, swimming around the kelp. She probably wouldn't be paying too much attention to whether or not any of it's damaged or any sort of tracks left by anybody else. She's not that's not coming to her at this point. So right now, immediately, Sanam, come here, Sanam, and swimming as fast as she can through the kelp, around the kelp, looking up, looking around, calling as loud as she possibly can, which is extraordinarily loud.
Yes. You weave through the kelp, you look down, you look up, trying to find, even in the pale light of Ahriman, you can still, with your siren eyes, detect silhouettes and forms against the water, for you are a predator. You see no sign of her in this small forest. I say forest; it's not that expansive, but this grove, shall we say, of kelp. Nothing is obviously torn, and there are no. You don't smell the scent of blood in the water, or the presence of you don't get the sense of any predators in the vicinity. You don't detect the sounds or the sense of blood or of other creatures, which might raise your hackles. As you continue weaving, give me a perception check. Searching, moving through the inky blackness of these foreign waters.
Still. Right.
Curse
Perception.
continues.
10.
As you're calling out, you're crying out, and as your voice being so potent and sound spreads so far in the water. I mean, the vibrations travel with such speed and such distance. Calling out. You think you hear the nonsense sounds of an infant within somewhere at the edge of your perceptions, but it's hard to pinpoint. It seems with the waves, you're not able to pinpoint it. You should be able to. You are in your element, but perhaps it's the grogginess of just coming out of sleep, but it shouldn't be that, because you're absolutely on alert. Perhaps it's the unfamiliarity of these waters. Perhaps it's the fact that you have not been underwater in nearly a cycle, fully immersed in Leviathan as you are. Perhaps it's all of these things. Perhaps it's a combination. You're not sure, but you hear something, but it's just so hard to pinpoint onto a particular direction that way. And again, this area it slopes slightly from the shore, and then the ocean floor kind of levels out and becomes somewhat flat. It's very rocky, great boulders, and almost like a landslide or something has come through here, but it doesn't look like it should be possible. There's no mountains here, at least not that you've seen. It's not like the silty, sandy bottom in this sort of area of the ocean. Very great big rocks, jagged shards of Tahul upon the bottom here, and there are fish and individual there's corals and things multicolored, and that's the scene you see you find yourself in.
All right, so yeah, I mean, so she is like, now that she can kind of hear it, she's like able to focus herself a little bit better. I mean, she's still kind of like, if you can imagine someone with gills like kind of hyperventilating underwater, she's like, but she's like she's starting to be able to calm herself down, and she realizes that she should be able to figure this out, and she can't. So something's wrong with her, or something strange is going on. So she needs to make a plan. So what she's going to do is she's going to, since she thinks she covered the kelp area pretty securely, she's just going to start going in concentric rings, ever widening, and because she's pretty sure that she can swim faster than her child or anybody who would, think to abduct her child or something like that. So if she just keeps on, swimming around in ever widening circles, eventually she'll be able to catch up. So.
And you do this minutes and longer stretches of time. You make these concentric circles, and all the while that feeling of anxiety grows. It seems to get louder, more potent, more overwhelmingly powerful. But after about 15, 20 minutes of ever widening circles, so you scanning around, up, down, in between cracks beneath reefs of coral and little holes and grottos. You see, or sorry, you don't see, but you hear again the call of your child, and beneath a large shard of rock, many times the length of your own body. It's almost like a a rock kind of balanced atop another, creating a kind of like triangular sort of shape amidst other pieces of rubble and stony debris. There's not a grotto, but like there's a little space sort of beneath these great big stones, these great big boulders. You see your now you see that single feather, that single vibrant feather first, and then the brilliant blue skin of your lineage. You see the young infant daughter there, not crying, not being attacked by a predator, not abducted. You're very perhaps looks very worrisome to you, but she doesn't seem stressed out. You see Sanam sort of covered, almost like caught in. It looks like a piece of some fisherman's net, which you see is hooked to like one of the jagged pieces of rocks. It looks like this net must have snagged on it, and it is caught in the in the waves, and she is sort of wrapped up in it. But she doesn't cry. She doesn't try to get out. In fact, she's like making those like babyish kind of like laughter noises. I'm not a parent.
Yeah.
Apology to parents out there. That noise that babies make.
Yeah.
Sort of caught and wrapped up, almost like that your own like sling that you wear on your back. You see her there, like some a few feet from the bottom of the ocean floor here, sort of bobbing slightly as in this fisherman's net.
Okay, well, she might not be like, stressed out about this or anything like that, but I am utterly furious. Like those fucking fishermen, those fucking fishermen endangered my child. Oh, these land dwellers, they're already on my last nerve, and now they're putting nets down there to capture my children. So she says, so no, come, and she realizes that she obviously can't, so she swims down there as fast as she possibly can. She wouldn't have her stuff with her like 2 things that she owns, so like she's gonna do her best to try to unentangle her, and as she's doing this. So no, you never leave me. This is what happens when you leave my side at night. You will always stay with me. I watch you. This is not something for you to do. Go. And as the baby thinks this is all game, and she's all like cooing and giggling and stuff like that, and just utterly furious, but like trying to restrain it just for her sake. I mean, like the feathers on on my head are just like like halfway to being just like completely erect and like in the tension of the moment. So do I notice anything about the area besides the fact that there's a net here and there's some like some of the stones coming together? Is it like is it like a natural shelter, or
It,
is it
it could
just
be,
like
but one thing you definitely, and you can give me a perception check, but you do notice you're definitely like relieved to see your child. You have that fury of
yeah,
these
yeah,
goddamn fishermen, but that that feeling of fear and anxiety is still like that doesn't diminish. Like you're and
oh yeah, yeah, of
on the
course.
one hand you're relieved, um, but there's something uh, that heart pounding anxiety is not dying down from you, um, which is unusual. You found your child. There's nothing to be.
Well, I wouldn't say it's
Okay.
too unusual because, like, I mean, she doesn't know how she got over there. Like, I don't
Right.
think my child would just like swim all the
Right.
way over here
So
just for no reason. But like, she's trying to control herself. She's doing a slightly better job of it than like she normally would be, just because she doesn't want to like completely freak her child out. And right now, she's like seems to be, you know, somewhat
right.
happy with
And you
this.
can get her
Um,
out of the
yeah,
net. Like you don't need
yeah,
knives and things.
yeah. But that's slightly better. So I got a 14 on my perception check.
Okay. So this area, again, it looks like a long. Again, this is a huge pieces of rock. Um, whether they're jutted out from beneath the silt and sand or toppled in from land, you're not um, sure. But there's two big boulders which are sort of leaning up against one another, creating a kind of little opening, a little alcove, maybe between like 7 and 12 feet high. Um, and in this this area caused by the hollow underneath these boulders, there are smaller bits of rock, and you see there it looks like they're pieces of these two greater rocks which have like chipped and shattered
Yeah.
and fallen on the ground here. So it's like a kind of jagged rocks mixed in with the silty sand of an ocean floor. There are uh, corals to the left side of I'm going to say the entranceway here. It's not a very deep, uh, like a tunnel, but there's also some sort of seaweed, but it's not that like leafy stalks of seaweed. Um, it looks almost more like ivy, if you take my meaning.
Yeah.
Uh, Plant-like growths which are kind of like woven onto and into the rocks and the cracks and things all along this area here, this under this alcove, shall we say?
Okay.
But
And
with
it's
that, go ahead. Sorry.
but it's like, so the alcove is only like a few feet deep, or is it
No,
like,
it's about 15 feet deep and about like a 10-ish foot diameter, shall we say. It's not perfectly
okay,
spherical, but if you take my meaning. So
yeah,
if you can imagine a big rock on the ground and a larger kind of oblong rock like falling at kind of
yeah,
like an angle. So it's kind
yeah,
of like a kind of conical kind of
yeah,
like it comes to a point, if that makes sense, not sharply, but with that roll, you also notice halfway in the sand of the floor, and halfway sort of covered by this ivy-like seaweed, you see the glint of something, um, perhaps a seashell or scales of some fish or some creature,
All right.
something.
So yeah, after I get sent out, I'm going to like pick up this net and like, is it attached to anything? Because I'm going to do my best to take it off.
You can. It's like a piece of a net. Like the net was destroyed. This is
Okay.
a portion of a larger fisherman's net.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
you
So
can take it off and
yes,
go.
I'm definitely taking that with me. And then I would say, Zeynep, let us go see what your adventures have brought us, and we'll swim down and take a look at the shiny thing, and hopefully it leads to great opulence.
It's a house. Um, no. You go down to where that light fluctuation is, and you feel that sense of I hesitate to call it full out fear. It's not quite fear, but that itching, that sensation at the back of your mind. And you look upon this, it's pointing in that direction. Something is fills you with apprehension, but you go towards it and is to see what this thing is. You tear off that seaweed, and you brushing aside some of this silt and sand, and you see something. It looks a piece of rock itself, something carved, a small dome-like thing, about yay big, an oblong kind of ovoid, almost like the same shape as like the shell of a beetle. Um, if you take my meaning, some sort of stone or perhaps clay. Not that you would have seen baked clay um, in your travels. Being a Cylon, you tend not to make pottery. Um, but upon it, so what caught your eye is there are different materials sort of set into this clay thing, different stones, um, and different stones, and they all have different colors about them. One of gold, one of a sort of silvery color, another of a sort of sky-colored blue. Odd. Something that has like the coloration of like an oil slick, like a rainbow, into it. In between these inset materials are writings, which of course make no sense to you, given your upbringing. But you see there are 6 of these materials, these stones, inlaid into this curved tablet. Upon
Okay.
the concave portion are highly stylized illustrations, which also likely make. Well, do you have any grades in artist?
No.
Okay. You're not really sure what they represent. perhaps with more studying this more. It's definitely a stylized or an abstract depiction of something, or perhaps even a series of things. But it's highly stylized, such that you're not entirely. Nothing jumps out at you as like, oh yes, that's a this or that's a that.
Okay, so I mean, is it so? Does it look like it's gold, or is it like just a golden hue?
Sorry, so
I wouldn't be able to tell if it's actually gold or if it's gold paint.
there looks
But like I mean, is it like yellow or is it like goldish?
so the tablet is sort of clay color, like a
Right, yeah, I got that part.
But one of the materials, one of the bits of metal and stone
Yeah.
that's been inlaid, and it's rows of. So if you imagine it in an ovoid thing, right?
Hmm.
There's 2 rows or 2 columns, shall we say, of 3, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
One of them looks to be gold.
Okay, then it's
One,
gonna be
so
tough.
yeah,
I mean, it's gonna be tough to carry all this because like I'm obviously not gonna let Sanam swim by herself because she's obviously completely I cannot trust her. And I don't want this to happen again, like the same night. But I'm going to like, well, first of all, I'm going to try to pull it out because it looks valuable. Um, and upon success doing so, I'm going to like kind of like drape it in the net and then kind of like drag it behind me. I guess I'm just like kicking, so this is going to constrict my swim speed a bit, but I will be able to take it back. But I don't think I'm sleeping anymore tonight because, yeah, I'm not. There's no way I'm gonna be able to fall back to sleep. So I will go back and retrieve my my pile of items, and then I'm going to go up on land, which so that I can restrict my daughter's movement and make sure that she doesn't disappear on me. So
okay.
dragging this stuff.
It's not massively heavy, like
Yeah. But I mean, it's just awkward swimming that way because I can't use my arms. I can't use either of them. So like it's slow.
Right.
It's not.
You would be able to.
Oh yeah.
Take if you sling it up in a net, you could tie some of the frayed bits of rope, sort of tie it around you such that you can.
Yeah, but she's not thinking clearly enough to do that. Like she's just like, all right, we're going up there.
Okay.
And this way, we like I can figure things out up there because now down here is not safe either. So this is wonderful. So yeah, so she's going to go up and head up on the beach, and hopefully she doesn't encounter anything terrifying.
So you do that and you get your things, and nothing assails you and assaults you. But as you make your way up, we change scene to that same beach, which you will rise upon, though some hours in the past. Avachov, you're absolutely passed out on the pebbly shores at the edge of Leviathan and Damar. And the first time feeling those waves, though these are on the opposite end of the world, not the warm, gentle, sandy beaches of the sunlit realm of gold that is your home. But these pebbly rocks, carved smooth by the erosion of countless cycles of Leviathan slowly eating away at the surface of the ground king. Not that such things, perhaps such metaphors are wasted upon Avachov, or of what use or is the knowledge of the Ground King or Leviathan, when one has what Avachov has. And you are in your blissful slumber, having consumed the flesh left by the golden lady of your heart on the beach. You're roused. You hear the sounds of footfalls, the crunching into the pebbles and rocky beach of this area. You hear in the tongue of Mool, it sort of like jostles you from your blissful slumber. Oga! Wake up, Oga! You're muted. You are still muted.
Avachov wakes up violently, like in a jump. He was fully light on the pebbles, and then he goes like, and then he goes a bit like lighter immediately, even before actually seeing what happened. Just the fact that he was woken up. And if anyone was looking at his back, he actually has some new puncture wounds. Probably one just new one just opened as he came up because of the pebbles and maybe some ill-shaped rocks when he just fell to the rocks to slumber. He doesn't feel this, of course, as he usually pays no mind and practically doesn't register the little scratches that things of the environment may do to his body. I look basically to the source of the noise as I am. I'm coming to peacefulness again as I awake. First, awaken again is vessel of San Zero is peaceful, and I see, and I look at the source of the noise.
You see, standing before you, some 10 feet back, are a small group of individuals. You see 2 satyrs, a human male, and a sight you haven't seen in a very long time. An ogre female, many cycles your senior, as it is clear. The mark of age, not elderly, but shall we say middle age, upon her frame, which
kind of like middle-aged, would it be?
Yes, about middle age.
Okay.
Let's something like 40s-ish, in cycles. Whatever.
Sure. Actually, usually it is rare for an ogre to reach old age. That's true. Actually, I think that's more or less the.
Although of course, in Zanzaroheim, many of your kind live to a ripe old age. For what cause? For the barbarity of your stupid kindred. Need you care about?
Well, as I see them, I immediately first I go, and then I look to my sides to register if my ally is close by, and I put the face of tranquility towards these people that spoke to me.
You do not see. You think the name was Daholix. If you were able to to decipher that stone upon stone gravel voice that your ally spoke to you, but you do not see that stone man next to you at the moment.
Remember me, which were the words specifically? They no, actually he wouldn't. He like, sorry,
He'll tell you to
what did you say?
wake up.
What did you say? He says out loud.
The human, obviously the one who spoke to you, for the voice is similar. Blair gazes at you, seems to look intently at your face, at your form. What is your name, Ogre? Don't recognize you.
My name.
Yes,
My
your
name
name.
is Avachov Sanserchifte. And I say this with the usual great glory that I say my last name, that as this human knows Mulish, he knows that it is one word, but this word is like Sanser, and the Chifte means like glory to the name of.
That doesn't.
It's
Yeah, if he
it
knows that, he
speaking my
doesn't give
language.
any indication that he knows of the deeper meanings.
Sure,
of,
I'm just saying.
yeah, I know.
Avachov Sanserchifte, do you have a name?
He's speaking to you in Mulish,
I
by
asked.
the way, as well. So, sorry
Yeah, I
about that.
assume you did say like I heard in Mulish, so
Oh, okay,
that's why I'm
great.
just like
Yes.
yeah. So I indeed like I reply to him in Mulish.
Right.
Do you have a name?
I don't recognize you from. You're not from here. What are you doing? This far. Yeah. You clearly tower over. Even the ogre female. You are, as we have said, a veritable mountain of bright red flesh.
Yeah, and I just like when I did the motion, it's when Avachov, like as he was speaking, Avachov was standing up, as he was saying, "I'm not from around here." Yes, I am from a place of great happiness. That is Sanserheim. It's a great place of pure joy. I hope you will be blessed to one day go to Sanserheim.
So the man looked like he was about to say something, and then yeah, I am from Zen. So yeah, so it's his mouth. Well, you answered my second question. I thought you were. I was going to ask what you were doing this far from Consulo Island. Nice. That location is not upon the isle. Where is this place you come from, Ogre? Not using your name. I would scold you were you from these lands. You know the laws that your kind must follow. What cause have you to terrorize our people with your own flames of your rage? I hear you.
Terrorize. I apologize. I know that you all are people of great misery, and I hope that you will all reach happiness soon. I don't. Avachov does not want to terrorize. Avachov just wants everyone who desires to know of the blissfulness that they can feel. I don't wish
No, you
to
do
terrorize.
you? People
And
of
if
misery,
you must
say.
know, and you certainly, I hope everyone knows Sanserheim, and I just I just point towards the direction first, and then I go to my what's the name? I think it's named like satchel to my side, and I can show you in a map if you want. I can show you in a map where is Sanserheim. It's a great place.
I don't care
There's
about
no
where
one
you
there
come
who's
from.
miserable
Why
and
do you
afraid
fall
like
out
you.
with
Sorry,
desires to
sorry
rape
for
our
my
women,
phone. Yes.
to kill our townsfolk? Don't lie to me, David.
Okay, so I will look. I I look like I make a face of oh, like now I understand that I look at the ogres. Ogres, I am sorry if you have raped anyone. You probably don't know Sansero. You see, we and I look back at the human. Our kind is cursed with great hatred, but no, in Sanserheim there's no rape, there's no problems. Here I come and I was telling an ally of mine that right now I don't know where he left. I was telling that there's no raping, there's no eating. I was saying that ogres many times rape and eat, and that's the way of Mula. I was saying that I curse my creator, for I do not rape, I do not eat people. I am just loving. I'm just loving. That's my wish. I hope you don't feel misery. If I can do anything to relieve you of misery and bring you joy, to just say, and I bring you joy the best way that I can. I say, and I give a wide, honest smile when I say that.
Give me a diplomacy check.
I'm gonna ask you to, or whoever who wants to help me on
I'll roll
that,
for you.
because I do not have the dice.
4 is your total
So,
roll.
okay, 4 plus, that's gonna be 4 plus, 4 plus 4, it's merely an 8. It's not disastrous, but, you know.
So you say all this, and as you've described many times before, the hulking, the way that you look, the creepy smile that you give, and just the way you may have good intentions, but you're hitting all the wrong beats, as it were. The frown on this human deepens, and you see the two satyrs standing at his right to take a step back, and you see their hands go to their sides, and you see there are arms upon them. It's swords. And that ogre female gives you like just a glower. Like not a frown of like anger, like this human's clearly angered by you, and looks like you just made him angrier. Like of what's your insight? You don't have to roll, but how many grades in? Do you have any grades in insight?
Absolutely disaster.
Okay.
Oh no, actually, no. I actually no. It's not disastrous. It's basically a 0. Like I gained some insight on my first mission that I actually needed to see the emotions of others for the first time.
So how many grades do you have?
So it would I would say you describe to me the obvious emotions, and the others maybe I will reinterpret.
How many grades do you have though? In insight.
I have 1 grade.
Okay.
In
cool.
insight, I have 1 grade. I have just recently got a basic understanding, because before
Yes.
I just So
Right.
I just recently have very basic understanding, though my stat would take that 1 away. So just saying that.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Okay. So
Okay.
it definitely looks some manner of like almost she just frowns at you. You back up slight,
The
You said you
ogre,
had
the
a map where
ogre.
you came from, ogre. What are you here? What do you come here for?
I come here for healing. I come here for the sunset who wants me here. I know better at every moment, for I'm a vessel of sunset. Why? What do you do here? What do you do here? Do you have a name?
He
I
paused.
shall. By the.
Go ahead.
What does he
Go ahead.
say?
So he pauses for a second at that as you ask for his name once again. My name is Caspian. We're honest people here. We're farmers. We're fishermen. Good people. We do not take kindly, nor are we incapable of defending ourselves against brigands and marauders. I don't know what you're here for. I don't know who this Zansero is, but see to it you keep your claws off our people, off our possessions. Like I say, we're good people. We don't forget a slight, nor do we let it go unpunished. So you just think carefully before you go out crying of murder or rape. You get on your way.
I will take what you say to me as a kind advice, but let me tell you as a kind advice that if you want to be happier and if you want to be more filled with peace, you can pray to Sansero, and Sansero will heal you, and as you know her better, you may be happier. And I will also tell you that that it is good to forgive. Many times I have been wronged for people that did not know how they were wronging me, and I said it's better to forgive, for Sansero loves. Sansero loves. Sansero wants just everyone to feel her love and to show my love to you, and to show Sansero's love to you, and to show Sansero's love to everyone. I forgive, and I advise you to forgive, and I will be trying to spread her blessings. So I take it as a good advice. I hope you are well. And I must commend you, for you have a good command of the tongue of hate. I am very sorry that this tongue is so filled with crudeness. I know other tongues, but I am sorry of the crudeness and the hate of this tongue. You are masterful, in clearly masterful in it. I'm sorry that you have had to learn it, for surely many, and I signal the ogres, many of us of our kind that have been cursed with the hatred, we have surely made a burden upon you to learn this horrible language, so that you will not feel our hatred. Let me tell you that thanks to Sanser, I have almost no hatred, and when I feel it, I just remember the love. Thank you very much for your advice. If I can ask you for advice to you, is there a way I can take some food to fill my belly that you would approve of? I heard little ago that people outside of Sanserheim need to trade. I I I just rarely heard the word trade. I recognized it because it was said to mean mulish, and I immediately understood what was trade. But I'm not used to it. I will learn about trade. From where I was, people just gave me what I needed, and I just gave the work that was needed, just out of love. Just everyone acted out of love. I hope you find much love. My.
Do you
I
speak
hope you
Sindarian?
find. Sorry, you're cutting. Could you please repeat?
Do you speak Sindarian?
I see.
Do you
Oh fuck.
speak Sindarian? Am I cutting out?
Does let's role play it. Like if someone speaks to me, let's role play.
Okay, but do you speak Sindarian? Because that's gonna.
I don't. I don't.
Okay, that's fine. So as you're going on this this speech, words of trade and peace, words, happiness, love, and of contrition for these people. Words not meant to be spoken in the tongue of hate. Very confusing. You look supremely threatening, but the words you're saying are, I'm sorry. Is there anything I can do to help you? What's this about trade? As you're going on, one of the satyrs, sort of like his eyes go wide slightly. And they saw him, when the Kaspan, kan Jemersen, die Sanso, in the schöne Sechs. As you go on, like, and is there anywhere I can get trade and you can get food? The human's eyes narrow at you. He doesn't even answer you. And they all start backing away, not gonna turn their back on you, just be on your way, ogre. Don't bother any of our people. We won't bother you, but you be on your way. They back up, even you with no with your limited ability to notice, the emotions of people. You don't have to roll for it. It's the change is noticeable, even to you, of just a supreme distrust of you. You could see it in their eyes, and even the ogre has distrust in her eyes, which is something that you're really not familiar. It's sort of a surprising to you, especially among one of your kind. But they still, the satyrs have their hands upon. They don't have claymores, but they have looks like hangers or some sort of short sword on like a crude iron. But they don't. They're clearly not happy with you, but they are perhaps no fools to try and mince words with a 10-foot tall ogre who looks as you do, and clearly the way you're talking is very confusing to them. But they don't assault you or do anything. They just walk back up the road, the path up to the town, and leave you alone. They don't do anything, but they also don't answer your question about where to find trade or even what trade is. You left.
As they back down from me, I see. It's not hate, but I think it's a consequence of them being hate slaves. I see. There's negativity in their eyes. I just see it with pity, because they must be so close. They even know of Sanzene. As I look at them, I just put my hand to my face in deep grief. But at the same time, I see that they came to me full slaves to their hatred. I think they were close. I could see their swords. They were close to hurting Avachov, who's meek because it's a vessel of Sanzero. They were close to come and hurt me, and then I would have had to teach them about forgiveness. And I would not have hurt them back because I am Avachov and just a little vessel of Sanzero, chief of Sanzero, the glory of Sanzero. And as they back, I will look, I remember my ally. He pointed towards a direction, and I remember that when we've been walking, there were silence, and we saw the siren then, that she looked like she wanted children with Avachov. And I will go towards the direction because if he's ally, I think she could be ally. And I don't think she has a baby. I don't think this is a good idea for an enforcer, but to have a baby in these matters, but maybe. Well, surely she had the wisdom of Sanser, and I think this while I follow the direction my ally pointed the other time. I have been sleeping, and surely I can catch up to him. I will just walk a bit fast and not gonna jog because I think these people would get scared. But if I am not very close to people, then I will jog, for I must do this for Sanzero as quickly as I can. And I also will take notice if I see talons as I go the way that my ally last pointed at.
Which direction did you point again to Holix?
I pointed actually towards or around this beach.
Okay.
And I myself am not too far away from here. I am somewhere further away from the water. I probably laid myself down amongst the heavier, greater rocks for my own slumber, a place where I perhaps wouldn't be disturbed.
Okay.
And depending on the loudness of the conversations here, even though it's in a language I don't understand, it might have roused me.
Sure. We will say that we do, and you do see. Actually, you don't, because this is a pebbly beach. This isn't sand where tracks are really easily left. But to Holix, you are, as you say, not far. You catch the latter half of this conversation. Do you speak Moolish or Sindarian?
Nope.
Okay, so you hear the booming voice of Avachov speaking, both of them speaking a tongue you don't understand, but an angry voice, considerably less booming and baritone as Avachov. And you hear this, and if you are you can see it as well if you so choose. So.
From where I had laid myself down, I think of it almost as if someone knocked a statue over and it was just lying on the ground, some sand over here, some pebbles over here. Though an odd statue to say, because it has not clothing but objects upon it, a quiver on the hip there, one up over the shoulder there, and a bow in its fist or claw as it's been lying down on the beach, still clasping said bow in the claw. And then the various noises of the ocean does not disturb it, but when this almost the yelling like conversation happen between ogres and humans, I do rise up to a degree. The grinding of my rocky form can be heard to a slight degree, but I'm not making lots of noise, but I am still several hundreds of pounds of stone moving and standing up amidst other rocks and pebbles and sand. So I take a sitting position as I observe this conversation, still holding said bow in my right claw, but I am not arming it to any degree. Still looking over what's happening, more words are being exchanged in a language I don't understand. I pick up 2 pebbles, put in my mouth, and consume them as is my wont and custom, maybe then a fistful of sand as well. As it just pours down my throat, no wetness or any form of moisture in there, no, it's just as if you were pouring sand down an urn or something. As I keep looking on, and then the group walks away from this individual who has declared himself as one of the followers of enforcers, and thereby marking himself as valuable and allied in my rigid mind. But I am still not saying anything, but I am standing up, and perhaps that makes some noise, because again, rock against rock standing on, so I am crushing a pebble or 5 as I set down my stony foot, and then maybe hits another bigger, greater rock with the iron boot or cylinder, whatever you want to call it. Doom! A loud gong-like noise can be heard, resounding a bit, not super loud, but definitely one odd noise out amongst the splashing of waves, where I walk down a bit and then bend down, pick up some more rocks, put them in my mouth. As I see the great red one and raise a claw.
2 weeks. I'm speaking. I'm Avachav is speaking in Thraxian as he does when he speaks to you. I was just speaking to some people. You weren't here and now you are. And I noticed the background and look back at you and I make a polite smile. I think you were hiding very well because of how you are and your background. I see that could be useful if we were attacked here. I think they were about to attack me, but I myself would have shown forgiveness, at least while it was not lethal. I can take some cuts before it being lethal to me. I could have been forgiving, maybe. That way they could have been maybe a bit less filled with hatred. I am sorry if I woke you.
I raise a claw as in... So when you say that you are sorry, in Thraxas, that's the language we have been making our limited communication. I raise my hand when you say sorry, and then I catch myself doing that. And I observe my claw for a moment. And I look towards you, and I retake my staring of my surroundings and of your face and posture.
Would you like for me, we were talking the other time I knew you don't talk or don't understand Moolish. It is a language filled with hatred, and it is vile, but even though it's good to know the language so that you can understand others, would you like me to teach you some of this language so you can understand those who are filled with hatred, or those that need to have an understanding of those who are filled with hatred? I ask.
I ponder your words, and again, my posture is almost utterly unmoving for several seconds, as if I truly was a statue. But after like 8 seconds, I do a grinding motion with my head, which one could interpret as shaking head. But again, you can hear the grinding, no sounds of, rock against rock. And then I look towards the sky. Just what time of day is it?
I'm just gonna say you can. You've been at it. You are a guide and have been at it for a very long time. Perhaps in the sort of darkest hours of the evening, just before the light of El Sam will gleam out into the sky. Perhaps in another hour, it will be dawn. Perhaps slightly less.
Okay. I nod
After you
towards the
shook,
sky.
after you shook your head, and while you were looking at the time, I say, I understand it is a very crude language, and I will bear the burden of being the one who knows it. But if you change your mind, you can just tell me, or maybe would you like to know Thuban? That language is not full of hatred, and a lot of people know Thuban. Then you would know how a lot of people can speak, and you could understand that Thuban is a very good language. Would you like Avachov to teach you Thuban?
In a motion that perhaps startle you to a degree, I stand still for 4 seconds-ish before, almost with a very sudden I drop to both of my knee, or my one knee and what's left of my other knee, as I go down on the ground and look towards the sand and the various pebbles, and then you see me scrape some big rocks aside, move that one there, take a tiny pebble, put it in my mouth, and then make a surface of relatively clean and smooth sand in front of me. And I look towards you, and then you see me draw a Thuban sign in the ground, a letter.
Oh, well, first, like when you do the thump, I immediately startled, I back down a few steps, and then I see you doing this. What does the letter says in Thuban?
It's just a letter.
Okay. Do you know just the written form, or do you also know how to speak? I could also speak to you in Thuban. Or I could teach you more of the written form, or spoke.
I look towards you for, again, several seconds, staring, seeming to be one of my most common aspects and features. But I don't respond towards you with any gesture or some such before I observe you a bit more closely. Do you wear any obvious symbols of your worship?
Well, I have told you that Sansero is the child of gold, and remember that the most I've told you about is everything related to Sansero, and well, it could be said that kind of his loincloth. That's the colors are kind of Sansero-ish. that could be said from, and it could be extrapolated from what I've said to you. But beyond that, there's no obvious. And I've said a lot that basically everything is Sansero to me. It's very hard to tell you like this is specifically a symbol. So the closest might be the loincloth, but my own body to me is a vessel to Sanseros, as you know.
I look towards you for some more moments. Then I, scrape out that symbol of Thuban in the ground, and then with my claws I start to draw some more in the ground. And after a few moments, you see I have drawn the symbols of Sansero, those 3 pyramids and the halo around them, and then over or under them a caricature of a large man. And then I look towards you and gesture with a hand towards you and then down towards the sand, and perhaps you could say that my face is questioning or something. I draw some more lines towards Sansero, or the symbol of Sansero above. If you were to interpret it, maybe the image would suggest, is there a link between you, or does this entity invest might into you? Or however you would wish to interpret what I am drawing out.
Surely. Well, really, like what on the other session of what you probably, I'm gonna respond either way what you just said, but like basically, to me, everything that happens is a plan. Like it's like Sansero saw this coming, or Sansero wants me to do something about it. Like to me, everything, I only basically see opportunities to please Sansero and opportunities to let her down, but I almost don't think about that, because why would I do that, of the power, I don't think he would understand a very specific of the illustration, the thing of the power. I mean, if he hadn't been talking to you so long about being a follower of Sansero, he would think you're asking him if he follows Sansero, but that's like it's impossible for you not to know. But he has spoken to you many times that he feels that Sansero's love is what keeps him, as you noticed the other time. So he hasn't said like something specific. He hasn't said to be a cleric, and he has spoken about the way clerics speak to him. So you could probably extrapolate from that conversation that he's obviously not a cleric, if that is what you are asking. So, and that's things that he would have said. Like, remember, he was extremely vocal, all the very slow walking. He was very extrovert about himself, his life, and oh, goddammit, how was Sansero with everything he said.
To that gesture, I then continue to draw some more in the sand, removing a few more pebbles. 2 of them go into my mouth, and I draw a face like mine, horned and gargoyle-esque in its visage, and then a caricature of again a humanoid being, and right next to it a bow of some such, and some arrows just there next to it. And then I draw some more lines, and with one claw I gesture to what would look like a caricature of Roust, if you know your theology, and an individual, and again making a distinct mark on the broken leg that I possess, the bow, the arrows that are key features to me. And then as I gesture with my left claw towards it and look up towards you, my the cracks in my face where eyes should be begin to glow a silvery white.
A silvery white? Okay. When you look at me, I'm very pleased. Most than anything, I look at the symbol that you made and at the words of Sansero. I'm incredibly pleased, and I seem to be a bit like taken over by your artist skills. Maybe I don't know if it's like 1 grade, 2 grades, but the fact that you can convey in symbols these things, you know, those that have no artistry would merely do stick figures. They would not be able to convey all of that by symbols. So I look quite impressed, and I look with a lot of happiness at the Sansero thing, and I sit down and I look at those 2 representations each of each one of us, and I say, and then of our divinities, and I say, we are allies and our divinities are allies. So this is I can see you can evoke yourself very well with symbols. This is impressive. It's wonderful how you read in Sansero, and this is the symbol of Sansero. It's really wonderful. Should we be going forward towards your friend, your ally? Is she also of this enforcer gargoyle? Is she also, or is she of another enforcer?
And
She
then,
was the one with the baby, wasn't she?
and then I draw some more, and I make that spider symbol, and then beneath it a caricature of a person and, you know, feathers or some strands from the head, maybe to signify the feathers, or long hair, or how you would interpret it. And then right next to her feet or her claw I make a really tiny like dot with my claw or something that would resemble the little child with her, and then gesture to she's connected to the spider.
I nod. I see. Another enforcer spider. They were speaking of rules. I think was the gargoyle or was the spider the enforcer of the of rules? Like they were very of rules. Centuries of love. You just love is her rule and love is her will, and you just follow her will, and that is it. There is no need for laws. But loss was of the autumn or was of the spider.
I gesture towards the spider and then point towards the caricature of the person with the baby, and then I gesture out towards the water. And then I look towards you again, still pointing with one claw to the water, and then I take some more pebbles and a scooping of sand and put into my mouth. And then make one gesture again out to the water.
She was going. Oh, she's a siren. Yes, I have. I had many. I knew many sirens. She's fishing so that she can. Oh no, she doesn't give fish, or does she? In Sanserheim, the sirens went and fished, and they gave fish to everyone who need the fish. I could taste the fish. There was this fair woman in Sanserheim. She took the fish and she cooked them with peaches. It was very rare, but it was very good. And it was lovely because us carnivores can then taste the wondrous taste of the peaches. Thanks to this lovely fair woman. She had no name. She didn't. That was not the need of her. She was very lovely. I remember her very fondly. I think your friend would be fishing just for herself. Would that be who, and would the child would fish for itself too, right? Or she would trade with the child. Something. I don't know how the little sirens work, because when I was little I could not be around little sirens, for you are not well educated yet and you might eat the hands or other things of it.
I look towards you for like 3 seconds before I
Does she
nod
trade
at
with
that.
her baby? So she trades, and the baby fishes.
And
They
then
must instinctually be have a great capacity to
they could serve very well. Think if the baby was a follower of Sansero, the baby could fish, and the baby could give other babies and could give other people fish. Just since baby is such a good vessel, it could be a wonderful vessel for Sansero.
I look towards you and then I gesture for you to look at one particular direction. I point towards the symbol of Sansero, and then I move to another place again, scraping my big knees and legs in the sand, going in one direction, and then I make some letters in Thraxa, some lines there, and what would be in that language the question mark or the ending of a word to signify question, as I write peach question.
I look at the thing like very puzzled, and look at you and I say, I just know how to write and speak Thuban. I don't know how to, I know other speech, as you know, but I don't know how to read anything that's not Thuban. I don't even know how to read Mulish. It's a tongue of hatred.
Then I nod at that and look out into my surrounding and then towards you, and I remember you saying,
You have great knowledge, for you know how to write more than one language. You're scholarly. I look at you like with really impressed.
yeah, I look towards you and I remember as you saying something that a core to how you understood Sanso was this thing you called a peach and vessel, and then after a while of there being silence between us, I speak, and you can hear that even though it is from this gravelly voice, this non-mammalian throat, you can still hear that it is a question. What is peach?
I see that your rocky tongue helps you to pronounce the Thraxa. That's very good for Thraxa. That's good. There's a cracking of the bones. Peach is the gift of Sansero to the world. Peach is the most perfect fruit. Is the best tasting fruit. Oh, if you could only eat one thing in your life, and it was peach, it was a good meal, even if you are carnivore and you then have to die. If it's peach, the gift of Sansero. But of course you need to eat, if you are carnivore, you need to eat meat, because Sansero wants you alive, to be a better vessel.
As
Peach
you
is the best
recall
fruit.
the sweet tastes of peaches, and as to Holix again, you amazingly speak with words to this ogre. Nesvog, you arrive, get to the beach, some distance away from this exchange, but you see as you peek your head out above the waves, you look to your left, you hear the sort of mountainous, the booming voice. None of this in a language you know. You see the silhouette of that great ogre, and then you hear, I think if I recall, a sound you've never heard before. Sound of this ogre is a figurative mountain, but you hear the sound of what must be an actual mountain speaking. You see it emanating from the familiar form, the familiar not quite silhouette, given your siren eyes, of Tuholix, who is conversing amazingly with this ogre. He's on his knees. It's like scraping something in the dirt or the pebbles. You're not sure, but you see this. You see and hear this exchange happen. Of course, it is all gibberish to you.
All right. So yeah, you guys are talking Athraxa, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I have heard Tuholix speak once before, but it was in Hela, so it was horrifying. So it is new that I'm hearing him speak a language that he can actually speak. But yeah, I see Avishov, and I'm like, because my day couldn't get any worse, or my evening could not get any worse. Now I just want to get on the beach, but there is a mountain of horror standing on the beach. Are there any other ways to get towards anywhere near the town?
Yes.
Like, are there any other beaches? Is what I'm asking.
I mean, it's one beach, but there's other like.
Well, yeah, but I know that there were like rocks.
Yeah, there are other like paths up the rocks.
Okay, yeah, then I'm definitely going to one of those because I'm not going to go get raped by the mountain of ogre. So yes, I'm going to make sure I'm going to go as quickly as I can, and try to make as little. I do not want either of them to notice me because obviously Tuholix is hanging around with this guy, so there's something obviously wrong with him too. I mean, I know he's safe because he can't get eaten by anything, but there's something wrong. So I'm going to make sure that I don't get noticed and go to a different beach. And I don't know if there's a pier. If there's a pier over here, then I'm going to go up and try to get in between the pier and the water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Yeah, there's another.
Yeah.
Right.
And I am going to. So it's just about dawn.
By this point, just about.
Okay. So yeah. My enormous pottery thing and my net, I am going to shove them between the pier and the sand, so they're kind of lodged in there. So hopefully nobody notices them. I mean, I'm not really good at.
You're tying it to one of the posts under the water, right?
Yeah. I mean, I just want it to be safe, but I don't want to carry it around because I'm going into town.
You gotta secure it.
Yeah. And then I'm going to take Sanem, who's in my arm, and actually put her in the sling, wrap the sling around my back, and start carrying stuff. And I'm gonna go into town and go to see my Dowan friend.
Okay.
I mean, I have no idea if she's awake or not, but I'm awake now, so.
Right, sure.
So yeah, I mean, I'm.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm going. I don't know if you wanna do that scene or do their scenes or whatever.
So I'm gonna give, because I feel as though she should get more screen time, and I should do that for her. I'm gonna roll a d10. It's evens. Your child is gonna not cry out because she's doing fine, but make some noise, may alert the mountain of meat. If not, you get a roll.
Okay. Wait. He gets a roll, or I get a roll. I'm sorry.
I'll get her
okay.
Tuholix, and then we'll get a roll this evening.
Okay.
There.
Well, she she cries out, and I'm like, Sanem, you be quiet. This is not time. You are trouble already today. No more today. We must go. You must be quiet. You know this.
And if she does, she must find it delightfully humorous.
Yes, of course.
That you are in such a flustered state. No doubt the ruffles of your plumage, you just growing more and more frustrated with every passing moment. But she does sort of laugh at your frustration. Her sort of high-pitched infant siren.
Yeah.
If Tolix or Avachild would like to give a perception check.
I'm honestly gonna assume he doesn't get it.
That's why you're deep in.
Or well, you
Oh,
could roll for me, actually.
It's whatever you want to do. You're always free
Yeah, you
to.
could roll for me. Yeah, roll for me.
Oh, that's right. You don't have the.
What's?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have dice.
So-
I got 11.
Okay, your roll is a 7.
My roll is a 7. Okay, that's
Yes.
gonna be, I think, +2. So that's just a 9.
Right. Tolix, you think you hear something, but Aron see in the darkness, correct?
We have perfect dark vision,
Okay.
but we interpret colors really poorly.
Right. So you think you see Nazvog, but you will go up the road anyway. Of course, towards your Dowan friend. You see her go from the beach and move up towards the town, or towards up the rocks.
I observe that, and well, I'm not in any shape to chase after her. I know she can outrun me with effortless ease.
Just walk. You'll,
I remain with Avachov
Right.
for the moment, as he explains what a peach is.
So Nazvog, as you make your way up the path, up these rocks and over towards the main body of land of here. You're a bit farther to the north than you were before. You see, as you crest the top of this place, you see something you probably haven't seen before. You see, you can't make out the town in detail, but what you can you see is the glow, the orange glow of fires, not of a wildfire, but of lights and fires lit, which illuminate and sort of cast a haze, an orange haze, above much of the town. And in fact, from this distance, the sort of the keenness of your siren eyes, it kind of in some ways makes it kind of difficult to distinguish the two, the darkness and the light at such a distance, just like sort of hazes over. And you definitely can hear, it's distant, but the sounds of some activity, not uproarious, not like a party going on, but the sound of people being just awake and not asleep, filled town or settlement. Ahead of you, you see not far before you those great brown fields going up those hills and undulating crests and valleys. Far and often just to your left is the home, that opulent longhouse, but closer to you, you can see it now, it's a lot closer and up a hill, looks to be the sort of skeletal, the skeleton of a building. You probably don't. You've never seen a building being built such as. Well, no, yes, you have. You're nashed upon the waves. They're built above ground. Looks like a structure being built. But these are the things that you see before you.
In the party out there, or whatever it is, the gathering, do I hear, are they like all adult voices? Are there children's voices? Because like I haven't seen any evidence of children at all in town so far, and like that would be the sort of thing that I would be sensitive to.
Mainly adult. Like it doesn't sound like a celebration, which perhaps there might, if there indeed are any children here, perhaps there might be. It looks like it sounds like work is happening.
Okay.
So it sounds like mainly adult voices. Again, none of them it's just it's a murmur for you.
Yeah.
You don't speak any of these tongues.
Yeah.
But there is also there's also light at the front of the longhouse where your Dowan friend is dwells ostensibly. So you see that as well. There are not.
Okay.
There's not the sounds of massive activity coming from there.
So yeah, but I am happy to see that there is some fire over there because at least somebody's awake and fire is wonderful. So I am going to head over there with all speed. I'm gonna keep doing what I do what I can to examine the new structure being built. I don't know anything about foundations and stuff like that because the only buildings I've lived in are on the water. But I'll take a look at them, see how sturdy the wood is and everything that as it's going up. Just take a look at how big it is. Just get a strong sense of how enormous this structure is going to be and what sort of structure it's going to be. Is it being well built? How much support does it need for such an enormous thing? So obviously you don't need any description of that. I'm just taking that in.
Okay.
I'm also looking around to see if there are any spider webs around there because I don't think I would have seen any by any of the stone houses, but I don't know if there's just no spiders around here or if these people are maintaining their houses in such a way as to not have them or what's going on. And so that's the sort of thing that is also very frustrating to me is not seeing any of them. So I don't this is an active site, so I'm not expecting it, but I'm still just looking anyway. So
astute of you. Do you have any grades of mason or any carpenter?
Mason, no.
Okay, I didn't think so, but
Yeah.
You can definitely I'm gonna still ask for a perception check, but what you do see as you kind of make it be like you walk by, do look at it as you make your journey. So you see, there are nothing exists above the ground level except for it looks like pilings,
Okay.
just columns and such things. Again, foundations. What it looks like, it looks almost kind of like a quarry in a way, not that large, of course, but different like rectangular forms, ovoid structures, different shapes, almost like being punched out of the ground or dug out of the ground at varying levels or depths. Fairly complicated. The specifics of which are sort of
Yeah.
beyond you, but very complicated, very precise looking building is being done, and the earth which is being excavated is sort of covered up with stone. And again, it's that kind of, and you see actually blocks around, and blocks is actually kind of a misnomer, but for these stones which hold back the earth and are being used as walls are of irregular shapes. They're not rectangular bricks or blocks. They're not quite so exaggerated, but think Tetris. Irregular forms, even some curves, non-right degree angles. These stones look like they're fitted exactly together, like pieces of a puzzle. And there's even, whether it's decorative or serves another form, you're not sure, but there's some form of carving along the like the face, like the outward. If this is rectangle put against a wall, on the actual surface are designs which seem to link together to form a kind of geometric pattern. It looks very good, very solid stuff. What was your perception check?
10.
10. You looking for some sort of, well, anything really, but you're passing this place, looking at this strange sight of this weird building being built into the ground rather than built up, and perhaps that might even instill you with some more of that claustrophobia, more like a tomb. Of course, there's no ceiling here at this point, but you sort of feel something go by and flick your feathers. You hear an errant buzz, some flying insect, some sort of not any sign of no webs.
Okay.
Which is perhaps unfortunate, given there seems to be some sort of buzzing insect around this place. Perhaps there's some midden heap somewhere, or some of the yesterday's catch has gone to some of these workers who've tossed it aside. Perhaps you don't smell any dead fish,
Okay.
but that's all that you see. It looks like there's many rooms, and the size of this structure is, it looks like it's going to be larger than that longhouse by a fairly significant margin. I know you don't know what this is, but looks to be like about manor house sized structure, or will be. The footprint of this building.
All right.
But you That is all that you can make out with your not knowing anything about
Yeah.
masonry or seeing anything beyond that.
All right, so yeah. Then I'm going to, as I take this in, kind of examine the this insane structure. Like, why would you build a hole in the ground and then like build a way to get into the ground? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. But fortunately, I don't live there, and if they want to hang out in the ground and be killed, that is their prerogative. But so I'm going to head over to the more welcoming site of the flame at the longhouse, and I assume there's probably some servants sitting over at the gate or at the doorway. And I will say, in Fatashan, I seek the lady who speaks with thunder and rain. The shy.
You are within sight, of them. You look. They all look like identical to you. These are all tiger folk, dressed in that wonderful finery. Thankfully, I don't recall if you saw the ogres before, but thankfully there is no sign of those brutes at the moment. You approach and they do not look threatened by you. Not that you're doing anything threatening. Yeah, terrified. But they start to shoo you away with that exotic tongue that they speak, which, like so many of the other people you've met in your travels, these wrong people who don't speak normal language like normal people, the proper tongue of Hela or Fatashan, even though it's Fatasha's does not provide. At least it's a common tongue that normal people communicate with. No one here, but they to shoo you away. You see, coming along from where the farms are, those brown fields. You see another light, or more accurately, two lights, and traveling together almost as if it is one. More of these cat men or women, who can tell. And throw in between two of these Dawans, garbed exactly like these guards here, guarding the front entrance of the door to this longhouse. See, dressed in finery, but considerably less ostentatious. Perhaps given the hour, is another feline. Does not carry a lamp. They're carrying not torches but lanterns, which are in metallic container, which is has an elaborate sort of the light apertures are intricately carved, so they cast a very weird sort of shadow patterns. It's another figure who calls out. They approach in a familiar tongue to you. Again, the only person who has shared language you've spoken, with the exception of Dahalix, who doesn't deign speak with you, perhaps because he realizes how awful his Hella pronunciation is. Perhaps he's doing a favor to you, though it doesn't seem that way. Seems we both find the night restless in these lands. Did not expect to see you again, my dear friend. What are you doing at my home?
It is good you are here. They try to send me away. They do not understand. I look for you.
You look for me? Why is this? They sent you away, but this is my home. Of course they would not wish strange intruders, those whom they do not know, to pass beyond the threshold. You understand, yes?
I do not intrude. I come. I ask. I request you. I say, I wish to speak with the Cheyenne who speak with thunder and rain. This is you. They say. They shoo me away. I do not intrude. I do not break in. I come.
Odd
Only-
hours you choose to come to me, but it seems we are both here, strange as it may be, an unorthodox hour. What can I do for you, my dear friend?
How you come to know how to speak with the language of Hatash? Do you worship? Do you worship the rain and thunder? I think you. I thought you worship the spider, but this is not true. You speak with the rain. How do you know this?
Alejandro is trying to call me via Gmail. I don't know why. Sorry. One moment. Well, hopefully he can get back in. If one of you guys, Taholix, if you could figure out what's going on, I would appreciate it. I know. I speak many tongues. From where I come, there are many people, many languages. It is wise to learn as many languages as one can so that communication is always an option. But I do not worship the Rainmaker, no. No offense given to you or your people, for I know Tash is a great provider, and, well, it's my understanding that the Sirens worship Vatash as a culture, though I have never seen one upon the land. I mean no disrespect for my lack of piety towards Vatash. I follow a different path, but if I may, a question for question, what brings you to these lands, or to land at all, my dear? You who, as your child occasionally makes noise, a young mother such as yourself, what brings you to this place of Ifapum?
This is a long story. I was told that I must go with the statue. He was to lead me. This is where he lead. I do not know if this is where we are meant to be. He is now walking with the monster, so I do not know. So I am here and this looks to be where I am to be until I know otherwise. I
Yes, I have seen this one. And that monster you have accurately described. Brutal beast.
So you say you learn languages. How
Yes.
does one learn language? You are born with it, yes? Or the God comes to you. The God says, "You speak this. You shout. You sing with the voice of the God." Yes. How you learn language if you do not
Oh,
if you do not worship the God?
one need
Do you
not.
give great sacrifices to Vatash so she teach you?
No, no. Well, it is perhaps wise to not ignore the one who brings rain. You may learn a different tongue with different people, simply as one might learn any other skill. You may read of it in scrolls or books, or you spend time enough with different species or a different culture, the words come to you. With study and with practice, anything can be learned, though this was not the first tongue that I grew up with, shall we say. For you are right, the gods whom created us all in our being are laced the words that tie us to our creators. My people are known as the Dawan, one of the Xi'an, the children of Xi, and she gestures out to sort of to the sky, to the region all around. Like, it is to her I prowl the nighttime air. It is to she whom my devotions are turned. But I see I am confusing you by my speech. I apologize. Oh, what is your name, my dear? I forget if I caught it. We
I
were.
am Nazbog Inasht. This is Sana. Like I kind of like bring her, or, tilt the satchel or the sling a little bit so she like comes up a little bit, and she like kind of like stares at the Down's face, and she just kind of like stares at it and smiles a little bit, and then sling it back. You can you teach me this? Teach me to speak in another tongue. No one here. They all speak in strange tongues, ugly tongues, but this is what they speak. No good for singing.
Yes, you.
I give you this, and I'll take out the scroll case thing that I have absolutely no use for, but look, it looks nice. So I'll take that out, and I'll say, I give you this thing. You teach me. I give you this. It's good. Yes.
She gives a gesture, and she doesn't. One of her people, goes to take it from you, and she takes it from him. I thank you. My name is Nali of House Yazim. What is this that you find a scroll? What is this? What is written upon it?
It is very valuable. You look at it, and you can use it in what ways you find fit. It is very, very opulent, as you can see. It's worth a great deal. This is what you give me a great deal of knowledge. Yes.
She, I was gonna say raises an eyebrow, but they're covered in fur, the Dalinar.
Yeah.
She quirks her brow at that. Unknown to you, takes the top of this cylinder, twists the top of it until it comes off, and
It's probably full of water because it's been submerged for like, good 12 to 18 hours. So, I mean,
I'm going to say that it isn't.
okay.
It's a very finely crafted scroll case, and they do make watertight scroll cases. But there's a roll of parchment in here, which you were completely oblivious to,
Yeah.
as I recall. She takes and read it. Do you have any grades of insight?
Yes.
You roll me an insight,
You want me to roll it?
please.
Okay. Will emotions help me?
Yes. I forget what all the fortes are for insight. I shouldn't say that, but yeah, emotions roll.
Okay, so that is going to be 18.
Oh, okay. She opens this and begins reading. You see there's sort of script upon you. Again, not a language you know. Since you don't read. But you see her eyes sort of darting, looking, scrolling over these words, and with your very good roll, you see her eyes widen just for an instant, and you could tell she tries to put the clamps down on that reaction and to hide that sort of shock and surprise, though, for what you don't know.
It's obviously because it's worth a lot of money.
Yes, exactly. Huge amounts of money. And she puts the scroll back in the case and looks back up to you.
See, is this not fair trade? Very valuable. See.
Yes, indeed. So I think it would be helpful for the both of us for you to communicate a bit better in these lands. You will find, no doubt you have already discovered, few, if any, will speak the tongue you know. Tell me more of this man, this guide who has brought you to this place. I've seen him. You say statue. That is not the name of his people, though I have never seen one. It's Aron is the name of his species. What is his name?
His name, if I am if I understand him correctly, he does not speak very often. But his name is Tolix, is what he said.
And you say he has brought you to Ifapum. Forgive me, my dear child. What did he say anything of his purpose here?
He does not speak. He was to take me here. This is all I know. He was to take me to a place.
Yeah.
He said we stop here. I do not know why. This is all I know.
She nods, almost as if she understands. Yes, I think it would be best for you to join me, enjoy the hospitality of my home. I am sure it will be of greater comfort to you than the cold beaches of stone. Let my she always like starts to say, let one of my people know if you need anything, but then you don't. It's like, well, come with me, my dear. We will find some way to overcome this difficulty. And with that, as you are led into, I assume you go because you wanted to come here.
Yeah.
Into the house of Nali. We will switch the scene again to Holix and Avatrov. You see Nazwag go up to the town, but you are continuing your dialogue of theology and such things.
I've mostly been listening to Avatar trying to explain what a peach is and how this is somehow central to the religion of this enforcer.
And actually, can you hear me? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Avachov, like when you were hearing, and I see, of course, I've already, like, we're not currently in motion, so I take out my satchel, I open it up, and I take out a book, and I open it, and I start, like, speaking from the book, like, after I describe a bit of the peaches, and I speak out loud some poems of the book. The poems themselves very beautiful, though not necessarily they are not with rhyme. They are not beautiful in the sense of rhyme or like you can if you see the letters of the book that I am holding, the book is in Thuban and I am talking to you in Traxa. So Anavachov says that the poem is different in Thuban and in languages, but it's a poem that it's meant to be beautiful in its truth and not necessarily in its language, for Sansero is not of any language but that of truth and that of love and that of true freedom. So he says he translates basically to Thraxa as he reads in Thuban the poem, and while he himself is not a person that would be able to create a poem, he certainly has presence to himself, and with all the love that he speaks of it, it actually sounds like a very reverent and it sounds very good to the ear. It sounds fascinating.
Yeah, as I listen and look towards
and it's
you
all
as
about
you...
this peach. It's like on and on. It's specifically about the peach and why the peach is perfect.
Yeah, after listening to it, I let go of whatever accoutrements I have in my claws and hold up them in a gesture that may I look upon this book. Let's see if you would share it with me.
I share with you the message of this book. You must know, like, as I'm speaking, like I retracted a bit as I'm explaining this to you. You must know that this is the truth of San Zero. This book is not mine. It's of the priests, and I must return. So you ally, you that are my ally, you must take great care of the book. And when I say that, like, I look at your claws like with some clearly some worry. If you wish, you wouldn't need to hold it. I would just put it close to you, and I could turn the page when you tell me to turn the page. There is great wisdom in this book, as you can read, Tuben.
I look towards that and then look into the book as you motion it a bit forward towards me. And I look on each and all of the pages here. And then with a claw gesture, I ask for you to move a page as I keep looking at the symbols and whatever is contained in here. I'm not a quick reader. Not at all. I might stay on a page for half a minute to a minute, but I still go through them and try to see and understand what is contained in these pages. For while not being the best academic, I am quite theologically knowledgeable. So whatever theology would be spoken of in this tome, if I don't know it, it would be an interesting read or something that would enrich me, is my thought going into this. Then when I start to read more about the words of San Zero, that would be up to the Flame Tender to see if that has any greater effect on me, if this would be an enchanted tome that would cast something upon me. That would be another thing, but I am now just reading the various pages, try to understand this message of love and how you speak it so freely, and I try to interpret it in my own way, which goes very slowly as I analyze word for word for word. Not perhaps to find the deepest of academical meanings, because I might not understand those, but just what the word means in this great tome, and then if that has any particular effect on me, the Flame Tender would decide that.
What?
I am reading the tome of San Zero.
Yeah, we were interacting, and like he asked me if he could take the book, like with body language. Take the book. I like retrieved it and explained him very carefully that I will help him read it, but like he must be very careful because the book is not his. But this is the truth of San Zero, and he said that he could put it forth for Tuhulix, and he could Avachov could like switch the pages when Tuhulix says to switch the pages, as I am looking at his claws with some fear, claws near my book. That is not really mine, of course. And I was doing so, and Tehulix was trying to discern the meanings and not staying too long on any page, which actually annoyed a bit Avachov, because he was like looking at the book and you were like, and he's thinking like, do you actually read that fast or?
No, I'm not reading fast at all. I'm reading
I don't say that,
slowly.
by the way. I'm not saying that. Yeah, I as a player got you. I'm just like saying that.
So this is what is this? This is
I try to understand the message of San
Peace.
Zero.
And
Oh.
Tuhuli,
up
up to you, Tuhulix, but you may, depending on your academics or whatever, you may want to go to the index. Maybe.
I don't think there's an index for the Bible of Zanzaro, but if you can roll me if you want to, are you trying to find something specific? Are you trying to find out what pages are?
General theological
the-
understanding.
Sure, roll me a
Theological understanding what the doctrine of Zanzaro is about, and if the book or Sansero through her text tried to enchant me, that would be another deal. Sure, but just now I'm trying to understand the message of this follower of the Enforcers.
Okay, roll me a theology.
Would cosmology forte be useful?
Probably not. This is probably like gods. This is the direct. Actually, I'll say yes. I'll say sure.
Then it's 13.
Okay. I'm chewing. Sorry. So you. As you're reading or skimming through this, and it's in Thuban, which you do speak, correct?
Yeah.
Or read. It doesn't matter if you speak it. Okay. So the way this is written in very flowery, but at the same time sort of simplistic sentence structure, if that makes sense. It almost seems kind of perhaps childlike in a way, the manner in which this book reads.
Nick, a question. Could
Yes.
there be, like, I was thinking, like, I honestly thought it was a bit funny, that when I was describing the peaches, the reason I took out the book was because I took out the book and there was a great poem about peaches, like 4 pages and pages on how
If you got
perfect
a
they
poem
are.
ready, by all
and
means,
it's-
read the poem.
No, I mean, I wasn't describing the poem, but I was thinking that probably the poem itself, like
Okay.
like the flair, you know, like just trying to enchant the reader with some things. Like maybe there are some parts where, while the dogma may be simplistic, like maybe there are some parts where there is like great poetry not dependent on language. Would that be okay?
I mean, you have to read the poem to understand it, right?
Naturally. I mean, right now, yeah, that happened when you were there.
Yeah. So yeah, you can read it. It's all in Thuban.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. And yes, there's bits of like poetry and artistry and passages like evocative of beauty and peace are sort of interwoven throughout this. It's clearly there's dogma, but it's presented in a kind of not conversational, but a sort of poetic manner, a very positive light. And you of course with that role you would get the general tenets and dogma of Zansero being, freedom is only gained by embracing the love of Zansero, submitting to her love and to her the oneness of that peace which she provides. Be humble, attain sort of bliss and happiness through submission to Zansero, through sort of breaking down the walls and just letting love into your heart. With don't harm your body, as it is a vessel of Zansero's will. Um,
It could also have like
So-
some explanations on how the will, like in real life, like in Buddhist senses, they show you
you
how
get the general.
attaching to your own will can be like a source of great unhappiness, and you must surrender your will because your will makes you a hate slave, and it could explain, the will is evil because this and this and this. The will of anyone that's not censor, of course.
Yes. This is what you get, and you get the general gist of what Zansero is. The more, sort of the deeper mysteries are not in this book. It does speak about magi, and like don't trust them, and that they are, but it's presented as almost as if like magi are kind of like bogeymen. There isn't actual specific like instructions of what to do or how to sort of combat magi. It's just a general overview of the Zansarim philosophy.
And I try to, in my way, make sense of that world, this rosy, happy, one could say, utopian view of Kavega Thale, and I try to get that into my rigid mind that knows with absolute certainty that but this cannot be our world that is spoken of here, for where does the Age of Peace mention that which is contaminated and tainted, that which disturbs the dead and steals souls? Why is this absent in this book? That is a part of the world, you cannot avoid this. Why is that not there? And I try to understand with the limits of my own mind, and that's why I take like a minute on each page. When are we getting to the manuals for destroying ghouls? Where is how you hunt Nocnistas? Where is how you deal with the foul necromancers? And so just try to get it into my very heavily entrenched worldview, and how anyone could believe what is written in this book. For it just does not gel or make sense with that ironclad view of the world planted in my mind by my creator, Roused. And after going through, this probably takes several hours, maybe, the way that I'm going through each and every page. We're sitting there down at the beach reading this theological document, or this manual of worship. The sun moves and starts to set in the distance over there. I just look up to you after we close the book, and I look towards your hands and the book for several seconds, and then I look towards you, and again my face is one very, very hard to read, because again it is this rocky, blocky construction, not with the fine lips or nose that can easily be moved to display emotions, but I look towards you and my face is stone cold for several seconds before again I speak in Thraxa. But how can this world be when monster prowl and graves are tainted? How can this world exist?
You read very fast. You have been a great teacher to Avachov, for Sansero has helped me right now become a better and faster reader, and I've been able to look at each page just for a moment and to try and get the knowledge. And I've become better with every moment. All this time I've never read for so long, and on all this time I've been able to read quicker and I've gained more knowledge. I thank you for this. And about what you speak, you see, this is the age of peace. That's the name of the book. The age of peace. Sanzero doesn't want any sorrow. In the age of peace, Sanzero doesn't need magic, doesn't need these hateful things to be hunted because it's an age of peace. You see, there is great truth in this, and I understand that you have not born in Sanzero. You have not been of the blessing of being birthed in Sanzerheim. Those that are born in Sanzerheim, they more clearly understand. This is truth, but this is also a language. Languages are limited if they are not the love of Sanzero. And the love itself, that's the best language, the love of Sanzero, you get when you submit to Sanzero. So you are my ally enforcer. You have seen things horrible. I am very sad that you have seen the horrible things. I've been all my life in Sanzerheim. This is what I've needed, because I haven't been in the horrors, but Sanzero has seen that Avachov can be a warrior to the purpose of bringing the age of peace closer, and for that I must hunt. And you say of these things, of these horrible things, these are the things that Avachov now has to learn, and with this book, and I palm the age of peace, I must keep my mind on the goal. This is the goal that Sanzero wants. So Avachov is gonna look at the world at the things Avachov never had to see because Sanzero on her mercy. Sanzero never wanted Avachov to see the magic, to see the horrible things before it was time. Now it is time. Now I will help. Sanzero will help the world to get rid of these things through humble Avachov. Avachov, that's very little in comparison to Ahura Mazda, in comparison to Igvel, and these are just the parents, not the glorious goddess Sanzerchiste. So I apologize, me Avachov, I am too limited to respond these questions to you, but if you ever want to go to Sanzerheim, in Sanzerheim, everything is well explained. The priests help explain and they direct Avachov to better enlighten and open the hearts. I thank you a lot for you have made me a better reader and of greater understanding of Sanzero through the book. Usually I understand Sanzero through the town, as all the place I lived in was Sanzero. Whereas of Sanzero, now I've gotten greater understanding through book. I am sorry I cannot give you further answer. I am deeply sorry. I hope you can forgive me, and if you want to know more, you pray to Sanzero and you open your heart, and Sanzero will make the proper words come to you, and more important, hello. I am sorry for I am limited. I'm merely a Avachov. I say to you.
I look at you for maybe 5 more seconds of me being completely stiff and unmoving before I nod, and then with a awkward step that almost results in a tumble backwards because of my limp iron boot, I stand up and rise and pick up my various accoutrements and hasp the bow onto over my arm, and I look towards the various symbols that are still in the ground, in the sand that I drew with my claws. And I extend a hand for you so that you may rise as well.
I rise after you extend the hand, and and after carefully putting the books on the satchel, and I bring another book out. So I am looking at it, and I put the other things in the satchel, and I'm next to you. You may read the title of the book is title in Thuban. It says The Ways of Healing uh, for 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 the healing and the openings of the heart, it says in Thuban.
I look towards you, and Bear don't give a response after. Then you say the arts of healing and opening of the heart, and then by slightly again with my claw tap my stone chest, as if saying, "What would that? What use would that be? I am a rock."
Oh,
As you-
when he took
Just
out the
quickly.
book, he was like, he wasn't showing it to you, but he was just like, looking at the book. I was making the voice like an inner monologue thing.
As you both
But when you do the thing of the chest, I look at you and I'm like,
This is I don't think there is for rock here. This is for me to know better how to heal those of flesh like Avachov and most others, and to better torture them if necessary.
as you both get to your feet, perhaps for the first time, at least to Alex, dawn has come and gone. If you are here for hours reading this, see the fishermen of this beach going about their business, giving the both of you quite a wide berth. There doesn't seem to be any much activity on that big boat at the moment this morning, and it is indeed well into the morning as you get to your feet and finish talking about the other books that are on Avachov's possession. You see coming down the path is a small group, not so small, perhaps about 5 individuals, orcs. One of them carries some great glass basin or container. You see, I mean, all of the orcs here look very, very alike to you. There's not a great deal of distinguishing markings or changes of garb. No, everyone seems to be dressed very in exactly just what you need to do your job or to just live in this rural place. But one of the orcs in this entourage, this group, you see there are bits of jewelry, not gold and rubies and such things, but some bracelets of semi-precious stone, a belt containing many pouches and satchels upon its person. Kind of medallion, likewise of, well, you're not sure. It's certainly not metal. Some type of stone or of some description come to the beach. They seem to ignore you and ignore everybody else here. And sent up in a semicircle around the shores where the water laps against the edge of the beach. And you see several of them taking different things from their own sort of containers and bags they have about them. Pieces of charcoal, a small selection of bones, a knotted piece of rope, so other accoutrements and things which, without further investigation, you're not able to see. And you see the 4 of these orcs, once they arrange these things in a, again, almost like a semicircle around the beach, and again clear out some areas of stones, much like you have done to get to like the sand underneath to carve your Thuban symbols. And begin to conduct or say words or some prayers of supplication towards Leviathan, but just I won't go into it unless you stick around. But just this situation happens as you're sort of getting to your feet, and you know, like, it seemed like you just looked down to look at that book, and then, oh, night's gone, dawn's gone, Huramasta's up in the sky already. Abachov, I don't know if you just didn't care, or, about the elapsing of time, but
Avachov, actually, as he was describing, this is the longest he has actually been like reading, and it was very frustrating for him at first because he could read like 2-3 words, and this guy already said like flip the page, but he was complying as he wants him to feel free on the book of Sansero. Maybe that would enlighten him. But as when he rose, he felt extremely sore in the legs, like when you feel like you have your leg asleep. And he certainly noticed the time, but he was just faithfully being the vessel of Sansero. So while he has never done this, he must stay there because this person may be enlightened by the truths of Sansero. So that's what he did. Like he very much cared, but what is your will in comparison to the will of the goddess? So it doesn't matter that he cares.
But as I get to my foot and boot, I look around and I see this procession of orcs going toward the water to perform whatever rites of supplication they deign to be important. And for a moment I, almost out of reflex, because a large group of people and the fishermen are working out here, I take a scanning view of the surrounding area, and for me the color of even the already vague colors disappear as if they are being sucked out, and the grayscale of the vision is being tuned up, and almost as if I had a tuned out radio or a poorly tuned radio near my ears. One could hear that echoing sound of some almost screeching in the background as I scan every living person around me, because I must see if the taint is with any of them, for I know my reason in this world, and maybe to a degree, now that I think as I scan the area around me, maybe part of my existence, even to a minute degree, is part of this age of peace that this reverend ogre speaks of with such enormous praise. But the thought enters my mind as I scan around to witness whatever possible taint might be around.
You look about with your silver white eyes. There's these new figures, and indeed the rest of the denizens of this beach, looking for, trying to sense any sign of contamination upon anyone or anything around around you within your vicinity. You feel, you sense, you see no taint upon any of these individuals, but as you look over, as you actually pay attention to your surroundings, having come to from that reverie, theological, long theological dialogue, you see and hear this, these groups of works, but mainly the one standing before, and in fact at this point about waist deep into the water, the one with various bracelets and medallions upon their person, but again, very little else other than like a kind of like a skirt made of just canvas or some other similar material. In his hands, he holds actually a glass bowl or basin, very not a. It's a very steeply curved, I guess, bowl, I should say. Not quite as like a goldfish bowl, but like something fairly more curved than like an eating bowl. Dips it into the water, and you see there are various accoutrements in the beach here, and these other four orcs are standing behind this semicircle within which stands the other orc. They are upon their knees. They are. It looks like or it sounds like, you can't tell words, but a kind of growling, not a growl of anger, but of a deep, within the throat kind of murmur or chant or something. Each voice kind of builds upon the other, kind of a. If you ever heard of I think it's called like throat singing, something very much like that. And the other orc speaking out in Thraxa, seemingly to no one in particular. Great Leviathan, offerings unto you, great Elder Creator, for the bounty and protection protection that you offer these lands. Spirits of water, of the boundless ocean, we beseech you to come forth. Make your presence known to we mortals here, that we may remember the old ways and the true powers of this world. For it is the will of time itself that this system, this world of Kvegathale be preserved for all time. He takes out of that dish, that bowl, like a conch shell. And he blows into it 3 times. Faces one direction, blows another direction, blows again, in another direction.
Out of not surprise, but a slight instinctual fear. For I assume it is speaking in Thraxa.
Yes, it is speaking in Thraxa.
And it is talking about summoning of water spirits and calling upon that which is water and Leviathan. And out of reflexive fear of water, for I sink in it, I take several steps back and move a bit further away and have a stronger grasp on my quiver at the leg if I were to have to pull up an arrow. But I don't attack anyone, but talk of Leviathan and its vastness and its spirits do get me the closest an Aran would experience nervous.
And as
he goes back, the moment he goes back, Avachov like takes notice, like a bit like, oh, like we should go back right now. Okay, and he like goes back, like he's basically just on the right side and on the back of Tolix right now, and he's like curious about it, and he does, of course, he's hearing all of this in Thraxa. He's hearing all of these, and in his head he's like, oh, they don't understand Leviathan is just there, you take and you pray to Sansero. But then fish, I smell the fish is going on. Should pay attention, I should learn about this so Sansero. This is what to do. Freshly caught. I should pay attention. My ally is at my side. He's going to tell me what to do.
so
That's my
yes,
mind.
so this ritual continues, and there from the that orc in the middle takes that bowl that is holds Leviathan in it, and goes in a order in which you can't perhaps doesn't seem obvious. Those fish scales, that bit of rope, those bones, those accoutrements which were left out as the sort of the border of this this sort of sacred space, pours a little bit of water upon each one. There's no water left in the dish. There nearby is some small casks of wine, which the orc cracks open, putting a big hole in the side of the barrel, and tosses the whole both of the barrels out, staining the waters red with the wine, and that smell of great wine wafts through the air. And again, once that is done, says if it's a word you don't know, but he makes a noise with his mouth, almost as if it's a word. Takes a small knife, draws it across his arm, and then the other 4 orcs sort of do likewise, and they cut across their arm as well, spilling their blood onto both the beach and into the ocean itself. And then the orc takes that conch shell again and wades deeper out into the water until it's only like the water is just above, like just coming to his chin. He holds up that. He holds up the conch with one hand and still holding the knife, bloody with his own life force, with the other, and speaks out in a tongue you don't, neither of you know. And if at any point, if anyone has either theology or occultism, you may roll. Taholics, can you see spirits or just ghosts?
I can see spirits and ghosts, but specifically spirits that inhabit the ghostlands.
Okay.
But I'm already again, as close as an Aron can get to being creeped out, as this dude is wading neck deep into the water, and then he's cutting himself open and spilling his insides out. If he spoke of honoring Leviathan, and I know that Leviathan is this greedy thing that likes to eat and swallow mammalian creatures, so I am even further, again, a mixture of annoyed and frightened, but I don't see this as obvious occultism or something, just worship of a elder creator I have no love or interest for, so I keep walking away. I have no
you're
desire.
walking away. I thought you were just like backing away a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were walking away.
Yeah, but again, with my speed, walking away is like backing off a bit.
True enough. So I'm gonna say for you that you can't sort of see any spirits that are not of the Ghostlands, but you feel. It's almost like almost like if you feel like a wave kind of over you. It's not massive and it isn't overpowering, but it's just that almost like as if like the air pressure like changes slightly with sort of the presence of something that you can't detect. That something is not of the Ghostlands, or sorry, of the Fleshlands. As this orc speaks in this weird tongue that seems to be almost entirely of vowels. Sort of closes its eyes and seems to be in sort of deep concentration before the shell with which he was holding, or is still holding, see the water begins to pour from it, as if you dunked it in the water and poured it out. But great just splashes of like water seems to, like as if a well sort of coming out of the lip of that seashell is sort of spilling forth down into the water, down the orc's bloodied arm upon his head and face. The orc then steps back, and you see the other four orcs are making kind of like hands, perhaps prayers or something, making gestures with their hands sort of clasped together. They back away from the water, gather their materials, or puts the shell in the bowl, which fills up with water but doesn't overflow. It sort of stays at almost at the lip of this glass bowl. And they return from whence they came.
Avachov also, as Elias said, his way of going away, it's pretty much like backing up a little. Avachov is the moment he saw that they were cutting themselves, he sees them with such pity and some anger, and it's like, why, what, I don't like, and he actually says it as he goes back, and I as a player loved it. I must say, I love these religious descriptions, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. But Avachov actually probably didn't enjoy, definitely didn't enjoy, and didn't saw all of that. He started to see the cutting of their skin, and he said to Tehulix, I don't like this worship of Leviathan. It makes me uncomfortable. Makes me uncomfortable. And I say that while I turn myself and I don't look at them, for it makes me uncomfortable, and I must be at the base of sunset. I must be at the base of sunset. I must show peace, for these hate slaves are even hurting themselves willingly and purposefully.
You see me walking away. I also am not now disregarding this scene of watery worship.
Which I must say again was awesome.
Thank you. So you walk away, perhaps disturbed by this strange sign of worship of these weird orcs, these strange and bizarre Huldre. And with that, as you make it, where are you going? Are you going down the beach or?
Away from the beach.
Okay. You make your way away from this scene. With that, we will change the scene to Nazvog. Thankfully, the rafters of this building are covered in, it is all wood. There are windows in this building, but it is spacious. The ceiling is very high, which perhaps gives you some, puts you slightly at ease, that you are not called into those tomb-like homes of these strange denizens who live in this horrible place. However, the people here are obviously quite strange to you. None save this Dawan Nali speaks your tongue, and the smells, sounds, and sights of these these people. It's all very strange. There's very exotic. Nothing like even the food that they make smells strange to you. It is cooked. Spices are used, making the air inside the home here smell. Tickle your nose and perhaps. Well, you react to it how you will, but it is definitely strange. These aren't the smells of the water or the sea air. This is very different. But you and your child were given, if you so wished it, some a bed to sleep upon, or to get the last bit of the night sleep if you wanted. Nully, for her part, seems quite interested in sort of discussing with you further, but has wished to speak more upon the morning, as she wished to get sleep of her own, and to think upon sort of the best way that you both might help each other, to sort of help you communicate, and to pay you for this wonderful opulent trade which you have given to her. But it is morning. Now it is early morning, just after the day has broken. Not Deholix and Avatrov, you will still have been poring over your books at this point. But no one has, when you see ogres dressed very similarly to the Dawan, not as many, perhaps 5 or 6 of them, nowhere near as massive as
Yeah.
well, you don't even know his name, but
Yeah.
as that monster, but still much bigger than you. Of course, these Dowans are also much bigger than you, but no one bothers you, but no one talks to you either. They seem completely oblivious to your presence. When you were first sort of approached the threshold, the guards guarding the doorway, glared at you. Definitely were highly suspicious of you until Nelly said something in that tongue, perhaps Xi'an, perhaps a different language. It's impossible for you to know. But after that was said, you're not given any guff at all. But the place seems to be a total whirl of activity. As the dawn light fades and the light of Ahura Mazda shines in through the windows, you can feel the slight warming of the air with the light of the sun. You see, basically the guard shift changes. Much of the Dawans retiring indoors, and the ogres leaving the house to take up posts as they were. But I leave you to explore this place if you so choose.
So is the bed that we were given in a separate room, or is it out in is it in a room that is shared with others?
So there are the bed is it is in another room. Well, what would you like? I'll give
I would
descriptive
most
purposes
certainly
over.
like a room that is, or a bed that is, away from the bustle, and certainly not shared with anyone else. Um,
The bed
because,
won't be shared. I mean,
well,
you're
yes,
sleeping
yes,
in the
but
same.
I don't want another bed in the room if I can manage it, because
Okay.
there are ogres in here. I don't want an ogre on a bed next to my
So-
child or something.
So
I mean,
it looks
like,
like so a portion of this longhouse. Looks like artificial rooms have been created. If you've seen kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Like mobile walling, if that makes sense. Like little, like bits of like balsa. It's not as cheap as this, but like balsa wood or even like rice paper, like in Japan, walls. Um, Partitions. Partitions have been sort of set up at different places and throughout this home, making it like basically making even more rooms than there actually originally were here. So there's a large sort of room, which there are a couple servants. None of them are ogres, and none of them look to be garbed like the guards are. These seem to be, though this might not be apparent to you in character, but like house servants sort of set up here, who also keep to themselves. I believe all of them Dawan. But there's a portion of the room which has been partitioned off for you. Looks like set up quite hastily, but it is something. There's a place for you to sleep in, although it is perhaps not as comfortable as the waves of Leviathan, or maybe it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, I certainly won't be sleeping because I have way too much nervous energy. But I will do my best to get Sanem to go to sleep in there. And after a while, finally successful, get her to go to sleep. And like, I turn and just like glare at the servants with all the might of my grade of intimidate, just like, and I know that they can't speak my language, but I make it clear that they are not to mess with the child, or there will be consequences. And then I, depart from there, and I go out and start, investigating the contents of the longhouse. I mean, I'll try to stay out of the servants' way as they're like moving around, but the fact that they're ignoring me seems pretty good, because every time someone pays attention to me, something bad happens. So yeah. So I'm gonna look at all like the opulent tapestries that they've got set up, like from faraway Milica. I'll like look at the many cushions that they have for lounging upon, and like they don't look super comfortable to me, but I don't know. In contrast with all the spices and the vibrant flavors that they have going on, any of the servants who get too close are going to notice that like I make like look attractive, but I definitely don't smell like they would think an attractive person would smell, because I smell like a fish. So
Right.
I'm a fish out of water who is like walking around. So it is. It's not going to be the most pleasant of odors, but I'm sure that everything is heavily spiced, and so there's a lot of punch to the aroma in the room, so it's not like gonna be dominating anything. I'm also gonna be like making sure to scope out anything shiny, and especially if no one's paying attention and it is small enough to pocket it. I will be like I don't have any way to like evaluate how valuable something is, but like
There's tons of shiny
overwhelming.
things in here,
Yeah.
like tons. And if you want, you are welcome to roll me a sleight of hand to.
Okay, I do not have any sleight of hand, so I will do my
Great.
best.
If you want, if you're gonna pocket some shinies, which is
Yeah.
totally fine. You absolutely can make that.
So so that is 3, 6.
Okay. 6.
6. I don't have any sleight of hand.
Okay. Let's be fair with this. Whoops. So, as you're looking at all these things, you're like taking things off shelves and like looking at them for trying to think if you don't know what this thing's worth, but is it perhaps shiny enough to meet your artistic tastes?
Yeah.
By one of the servants, not one of the guards. Inshallah. Monash.
Alright, yeah, and I figure
like at you like.
Yeah, and I look at him like, what? I'm just looking at this, and I just like go to put it back, totally trying to play it off like this guy's just like insulting me for no reason. But yeah, you go on. This is a nice thing. Yes, I agree. Go on.
Eventually, if food will be given to you again. Jamal, it is Gunashan. There's a kind of stew of some sort of fish and spices and mainly I guess it would just be fish and seafood and a sort of spiced broth. It's a sort of thick roux-like material.
Okay.
And like a bowl will be sort of left on there's a main table, as I think was described before in the main area. If you want it, they'll sort of leave you alone to ignore it or eat it as you so desire.
All right. Well, yeah.
The only people who will pay you any mind, other than that one servant who, how you eyeing the silverware, so to speak. There are 2 guards in the house, which are sort of blocking off a kind of section of the house, and you saw that Nelly sort of went down that way, and behind you can see looks like there's another room. There's like beads as the doorway, the threshold to that area. You don't know what's behind there, but yeah, you will not be let past that area. It's like a hallway.
Okay.
That way.
Yeah. So this food, I mean, it's kind of weird. It's not really what I'm used to, and I'm certainly
if you like it, you might love it, you might hate it.
Yeah. Like I'm also not used to using spoons and stuff. So I just see this bowl and I'm like, I don't know how I'm supposed to eat this. So...
Actually, you will see the other the servants and sort of the guards who are sort of going on to duty. They don't use spoons either. They will sort of use. There's also well, you're not sure what it is, but something that some of the servants are dipping into this soup and eating it. But most of them will sort of slurp it back
Oh,
to,
okay,
like,
okay. So it's not like so enormously hot that you couldn't drink it.
no,
'Cause
it's
that's
not.
what I was about to do. I mean,
It's not scalding.
yeah. I mean,
Maybe when you first get it, but if you wait a minute or two, it'll.
yeah. I mean, that's what I was gonna do. I'm just gonna try to drink it down and see how it is.
Yeah,
Um,
and yeah, it's
Is
fresh.
it made with any degree of skill?
Oh yes, it is very well made. Whether that is to your liking, I mean, there are
Yeah.
people who, for some reason, will hate the best filet mignon because they claim they don't like steak. They're wrong, but it's you could still not. I leave it to you whether you like it, but it is skillfully prepared.
I mean, it's not right, but it is well done. Like I can see why someone would appreciate it, even though they don't like, even though it's the wrong way to serve
Mhm.
fish. I mean, you don't cook fish. I mean, come
You
on.
hunt it and you eat.
But the way the way that it is presented is, I mean, it's good enough. I mean, I'm not gonna like spit it out or like grumble to anybody or anything like that. Like it's acceptable. So I drink it down and just I don't know how long I'm going to be waiting for her. I don't really know like what the terms of our arrangement are. So I mean, I'm just going to continue to explore and just kind of hang around, keep an
Right,
eye
so
on the.
you explore more of the home as much as you can.
Mhm.
And it is, for the most part, there's a kitchen, there are guard quarters, servant quarters, this main area, a couple other rooms, fairly small storerooms, and then the area you can't go. But after you look around, you see Nali emerge, looking ever as opulent in a garment you didn't see her in yesterday, and you didn't see her in this evening or last evening. It is a kind of it's hard to describe. It looks almost like it's one piece of fabric, which has been sort of almost like woven onto her in a very sort of intricate pattern, so that it lays in certain ways, and like layers of it are such.
So it's like a sari.
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, some might say it's exactly a sari, if such things existed on Cabeathil. But
Yeah.
Very opulent fabric and jewelry to the nines. They're very much the same sort of degree as what little bit you were able to see from her upon the Plankman, but a different outfit. And she lounges upon the before the table, just as sort of you're trying to figure out just how to eat this strange soup dish fish thing. Yeah. Good morning. I trust the accommodations were to your approval. I hope if I was able to provide anything you might have needed this past evening, but now that the Hormara's light shines, we can discuss in earnest our friendship and what you have traded to me. I appreciate the gesture. I am more than happy to aid you, as I have said before. How is your food? Is it to your liking? If it is not, I can fetch you something else, if it is more to your tastes.
It is good. I thank you. I thank you for the food and the bed. It is a wonderful respite for the both of us. You have many nice things in this home. Hopefully you can take this thing and put it in a place of honor.
Yes, well, thank you so much for your compliments. We strive to put our best face forward to our new neighbors and friends. This is
There
our
are few
home, of
friends
course.
in this town.
For now, they are strangers, but we were strangers just a day ago, and now here you are, here we are, discussing and sharing food at my table, exchanging gifts. If
I do not see
It's
any
quite
gifts.
interesting. I shall give to you in exchange the gift of tongue, shall we say. You, as you have requested, and perhaps other things as well. But I have spoken of you to my husband, Azad. He is quite interested as well by the words on the scroll you have given. Where did who gave to you the scroll, or did you purchase it elsewhere upon your travel? Where did you say you had traveled from again? I do not believe I had asked, or perhaps you have already told me. If so, I apologize.
I do not know the names of this land. There were it was very cold, and then much wood. Many of the trees we saw, and then we come upon this place. I find the scroll came to me from one of the pack animals that they have around here. They have furry legs, and but no fur up above, and they have horns. You see these animals? One of them was holding the thing for me.
For you, yes. She nods, deep in thought at the words you are speaking. Well, I have no doubt that my husband Azad will have much to speak with you about. But in the meantime, I think perhaps it would be best for you if perhaps I could teach you some of the basics later this morning, and perhaps into the afternoon, if time permits. I have business to attend to, but for what you have offered, I can spare much time for you, enough to perhaps get you on your feet, and we can work out something else for the days to come. But I think you will find these lands, as I have said before, it's called Ifapum. Ifapum is the word the people here call these lands, and even the isles to the south. 'tis orc lands, ancient lands, and you'll find that Thraxa is one of the more commonly spoken tongues, as is the tongue of humans. You have seen them, yes? They are spread far and wide. Many of them look different, their hair, their skin, but their shape is much the same. Many of them you will find, and no doubt have seen upon the beaches as well. Yes.
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 I've seen many claimant. They worship Helena.
I think you will find in this place that the Spider Queen is not quite as lauded as perhaps elsewhere in the world. The old ways are, as I understand it, practiced here, but I am not the best person to speak upon such matters. My husband is more knowledgeable in such things, but perhaps the tongue of the orc may be to your benefit here. Though I do not speak it with much fluency, I know enough to get by, and I will pass upon what little fundamentals I know unto you. But and he looks up. Before we begin such, may I introduce my husband, Azad. I do not believe you met the eve before. That foul beast, that red monstrosity you have mentioned, had the discourtesy to come to our door and was driven off, I trust. But do not worry. He will not.
He would not let me in when the beast come. He said, "You no come in." Leave.
Yes. Well, forgive.
He does not know hospitality like you.
And she, and of course, Azad doesn't speak this.
Yeah.
This time, he's sort of like coming down the hall, like he doesn't hear right here yet. Well, you will forgive him, I hope. He does not speak the tongue of Fatah. She was only wishing to keep the home safe, as I have said before, of unannounced guests, and he has driven away that great red ogre. He will not trouble you here. And I have explained to Azad our relationship, and that you are welcome here, and all apologies for any perceived rudeness on our part. Hope you may find it in yourself to forgive him for such. But
where's your wife? Where's your wife?
Look, she I'm gonna say you don't like need to roll again, just for a moment. That veneer of sort of civility drops, and she definitely looks like aback, and at that, like just for a split second, and then, oh, right, of course. I forgive me. As I said, I've not spoken with many sirens before. Our people must look strange to you. As I've said, this and like Azad is sort of just comes into view. Like, this is my husband, Nazad. I am his wife, Nali. We
Yes.
are the owners of this home, and I trust our enterprise here will only grow in time.
Yes, I see. I see this. Where is your wife?
I'm gonna roll a. I still don't know a whole lot about satyrs or sirens, or about satyrs for that matter either. But forgive my ignorance, my friend Nazbog. There are only Azad and myself. The rest here in the homestead are servants, guards, employees, if you will, of ours, workers. We pay them for their services, for their protection. There is only Azad and myself. It is that way without people, at least at this moment.
I see. You have my sympathy, and like I'm clearly thinking like their wife died, and like
Right.
so it's just the two of them now, and like they're like in a completely messed up family situation right now, and she's like revealing something horrible to me, but like whatever. So like I'm not gonna press it because like clearly it's a sore subject.
And she isn't
That's what
quite
I'm
clear.
talking
Like,
about.
thank you, like for your sympathy. She doesn't clearly get it either, but she's perhaps futilely playing the game still. But as Azad comes into view, makes his presence known, and he sits before joins the both of you at the table. Again, no servants or guards joining. It's just the three of you. Of course, servants are milling about, attending to Nali, and then Azad after he joins you. We will go change scenes briefly to Holix and his stalwart ogre companion. To find out where you are headed.
Avachov was surely following Tohulix, and he was reading the book of the healing ways. Basically that. I mean, he would, and if he's that for now, like depending maybe on the context you describe of where we would be, that would be probably depending on where Tohulix went. But at least on the way, which surely took time, I was reading the book of the healing ways.
Okay.
As I walked.
So,
Yeah, I just walked away from the scene of the obvious Leviathan worship, for it irked me in a very base way that I did not wish to witness it, even though it's not occultism or anything of those abhorrent things I am almost, one could say, programmed to destroy. Leviathan or worship of that which is water is just on the level of disgusting / scary for me, so I am not touching it. But as I walk away from there and I observe the surroundings, even though this is what one could call a town, rural, Tornadisk, one could still see the various fields and some such around here, correct?
Yes, most definitely.
So out of curiosity, or a slight bit of curiosity that was born into me now that I read The Age of Peace, I walk out to these fields where I also know orcs to be tilling the land and caring for it, for they value it to such a great degree. And while the actual purpose, I tell myself, for searching the farmlands or wandering through them at the moment is to look for taint and some such. But in the back of my mind, I still have that curious thought. Maybe I find a peach. As I make for the farmlands with my slow gait.
And as you do that, as you walk across, up the road, across the down the way and through those great fields, you see much plants and some small trees and vines being grown. You see orcs tending to much of the fields, taking weeding the furrows of the field, placing manure and fertilizer, keeping the dirt such that it provides the optimum amount of nutrients, just tending to the fields, which look at this point quite ripe. You see many grapes on the hills in the distance. You see vibrant green leaves from something buried in the ground, stalks of some great green, not a tree, but it's like one giant leaf, or many leaves, but just coming right up the ground, almost as tall as you are. All these things and more you see, and you can hear, the both of you can hear and indeed see, as if you're Avatrov is following Toholik's sounds of activity. You hear working being done, things, beams being erected, those standing stones, which are still quite far off in the distance. You see colored strands of fabric sort of being taken from top of different standing stones across each other. There are many farmers and other workers carrying materials and things, barrels, boxes, bolts of cloth, wagons pulled by Optalang, filled with who knows what. There's a great influx of people towards the center of this town, which again, while rural, is more concentrated, sort of down in that kind of sort of the depression of these collection of hills here. And in the distance, you see that entourage of orcs fading away, still carrying that glass bowl down into the throng of people, into one of those great structures of well, structure is perhaps the wrong word, a selection of a cairn or something. You're not sure, not from this distance. But as you see all of these things, as you think that thought, and you perhaps find Peach ruminating on this age of peace, and you, Avachav, reading those passages of healing and curative things, and of Nazvog setting down to eat these strange foods in this strange house with these strange people. And as noon approaches, or midday on the 55th day approaches, and clearly things gear up towards a ceremony of some sort, which is to take place on this day. We will go to soliloquies for your character's final thoughts.
These words, peace and love, it speaks of. And I wonder, can such be achieved? For that which is foul prowls, infests, consume, and erode. Will the world ever be free of such? I assume. Nay, I do not assume, I know. That is why I exist, and why I have existed in other shapes, with wings and horns or greater claws. This is my purpose, and I cannot be clouded. Though I must say, for the first time, I have a yearning for sweeter fruit.
Who would like to go next?
I'll go. Yeah. No place is safe. I go to the sea. I go to my home. This is not safe. My child, she disappears. She is taken from me. I go on land. There are beasts. There is no water. Fatash, she ignores me. Leviathan ignores me. Where must I go? Where must I go to be safe? I am so tired, but I cannot sleep. I am here. This is better, I think. But I must watch. I cannot sleep. They will come for me. They will turn on me as well. This is the way things go since I go out for Helena. Since I go out with the statue. I go out and things go awry. They try to take my child. This is unacceptable. I must watch. I must plan. I must not sleep. Though I am very tired.
I walk here, letting my ally be in front of me. As I read the book, it says, if you puncture the right eye below the eyebrow, then you can cut the eyelid. Once you have extracted a note of the humerus of the yellow bile around the head, then he will not have eyelid and he will see, but he will not blink. As he does not blink, his eye will give great suffering upon him, and this great suffering is gonna help his will shatter. You can puncture the eye and he will still see. You can puncture the eye, he will see with the red as he feels the pain and there is no refreshment from the eyelid. He will feel very scared and miserable. And he will feel sorrowful, and then Sanzero can work his love through his heart if he opens himself. He will be most able to get away from his will that has been enslaving him or her. For only Sanzero's will is freedom. I turn the page. Another way, and as I keep reading my book, I see ways in which you open the heart. I'm focusing in opening the heart for Abachov. He said, I am close to my ally, but ally is not friend. Ally is good, ally is better than these complete hate slaves, but ally is halfway. Ally has the misfortune he was not born in Sanzerheim. As you cut off the finger, and then as I read the finger, I see a humid in the page. I feel my own cheek. Is this a tear? I hide it behind the book, which closes. I hide it. These hate slaves must not see me cry. Sanzero, I am so far away. I wait for the cleric that will show me. I wait. I know I must keep myself open. I am reading the ways of keeping yourself open, but I must not hurt my body, so the cleric must come soon. I remember. I opened the water skin. I have not drank again from this water skin since I put the pieces that the priest gave me so I could feel Sanzero. Maybe if I drink again, then I will feel Sanzero, feel my heart again. I let the tear go inside the leather skin. I let the sweat go inside the leather skin. There's maybe a bit of water down there. I just lift it. I put my tongue out. I wait for a long time as I walk with my ally. Ally is not enough. I need friend. I wait for the humid to come to my tongue. It does not come. I tap the water skin. Sanzero, I am open. Please, come in. My will wants to enslave me again. Not again, Sansero. Not again.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you all next time.